Welcome back to my channel. Let's take a moment to travel back to the late 1980s. The year is 1987. Ronald Reagan is in the White House, Wall Street is riding high before the crash, and the world is shifting rapidly, economically, politically, and culturally. But tucked quietly into people's pockets, jingling in purses, and handed over for a morning coffee or an afternoon soda was something seemingly ordinary, a $quarter minted in Philadelphia. And not just any quarter. A coin that, to the average person, was worth just 25 cents. But for coin collectors, historians, and numismatics enthusiasts, one specific version of this coin, the 1987 $quarter with the Roosevelt P mint mark, would go on to become a quietly admired piece, fetching as much as $84 today. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait a second, Roosevelt? On a quarter? Isn't Roosevelt on the dime? And yes, you're absolutely right. The quarter has featured George Washington since 1932. But when we say the Roosevelt Mint Mark P, we're not talking about a depiction of Roosevelt himself, but rather the location where the coin was minted, Philadelphia, a facility that played a pivotal role in U.S. coinage. This P mint mark, small and easy to overlook, holds the key to this story. So what exactly makes the 1987 quarter from Philadelphia special? Let's dive into the story behind this deceptively simple coin. Back in 1987, the United States Mint was producing millions, no, hundreds of millions, of quarters to keep up with the fast-paced economic activity across the nation. At the time, cash transactions dominated everyday life. Debit cards were just beginning to surface, and mobile payments were a sci-fi fantasy. The quarter was essential, 4 of them got you $1, and you could do a lot with that back then. Parking meters, payphones, vending machines, quarters were king. In that year, over 595 million quarters were minted in Philadelphia alone. That sheer volume makes the idea of one coin being worth $84 today seem, well, surprising. But as we'll see, rarity isn't always about quantity, it's about quality, condition, and context. This design had remained largely untouched since 1932, created by artist John Flanagan. And while we wouldn't see state quarters until over a decade later, this standard design became a familiar, reassuring sight in the wallets and palms of Americans for generations. But let's return to the 1987 Philadelphia quarter. What sets this coin apart isn't just where it was made, but how it survived. Because out of the 595 million coins minted in Philadelphia that year, only a very small number remain in pristine, uncirculated, high-grade condition today. And it's those coins that capture the imagination, and wallets, of collectors. One such 1987 P quarter, graded MS 67 by PCGS, sold recently for a whopping $84. That's right, $84 for a coin most people wouldn't think twice about. Not bad for something originally worth just a quarter, but let's not forget the role of the Philadelphia Mint itself. Often overlooked in favor of the flashier San Francisco proofs or the Denver Mint's Western legacy, the Philadelphia Mint is the workhorse of U.S. coin production. It was the first official mint in the country, authorized by the Coinage Act of 1792. It has seen wars, recessions, booms, and busts. And in 1987, it quietly produced a coin that would, decades later, make collectors sit up and take notice. That P mint mark, so small and humble, carries with it a legacy of craftsmanship, history, and sometimes overlooked value. For those who understand it, it's not just a mark, it's a story. Now, some of you might be wondering how to tell if you have one of these $84 coins sitting in your change jar. Well, here's what you need to look for. First, check for the year, 1987. Then, look to the right of Washington's ponytail for the P mint mark. If it's there, and the coin looks unusually clean, shiny, and free of scratches or dings, you might just have something. But don't trust your eyes alone. Send it to a professional grading service if you think it could score MS 65 or higher. It costs a bit, but if your 25-cent coin turns into an $84 collectible, it's well worth the investment. Also, keep in mind that coin values can fluctuate over time. What's $84 today might go up, or down, depending on market demand, grading population, and overall interest in modern-era coins. But the enduring appeal of the 1987 P quarter lies not just in what it's worth in dollars, but in what it represents, the idea that even the most ordinary objects can carry hidden value, history, and meaning, and that's what keeps the world of coin collecting so fascinating. You don't have to be a millionaire, or own a rare 1804 silver dollar, to find excitement. Sometimes, it's as simple as turning over a coin you've seen 1,000 times before and seeing it in a whole new light. So the next time you get change back from a store clerk, don't just stuff it in your pocket and forget about it. Take a second. Flip through the coins. You never know, you might be holding onto a small piece of history. A coin that once bought a soda in 1987, now worth nearly $100. A quarter minted in the city where America itself was born. A coin that survived the odds, stayed pristine, and found its way into the hands of someone who could truly appreciate it. The story of the 1987 P quarter is a story of patience, preservation, and perspective. It reminds us that history is all around us, sometimes right in the palm of our hands. Have you ever looked at the loose change in your pocket and wondered if it might be worth something more? Not just a few cents more, but maybe $100? Well, if you have a 1965 quarter, you might want to take a closer look. Because hidden in plain sight is a coin that, if you know what to look for, could be worth far more than its face value. In fact, one of these seemingly ordinary quarters recently sold for an incredible $108. Yes, you heard that right. A quarter. 25 cents. $108, but how did this happen? Why is this particular quarter special? And what exactly should you be looking for? Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1965 United States quarter, a coin born out of crisis, forged in change, and now a hidden gem in the pockets of collectors and casual coin holders alike. Let's go back in time, back to the early 1960s. America was booming. The post-war economy was thriving, the baby boom generation was growing up, and everything, from cars to televisions, was rapidly modernizing. But beneath the surface of this golden age was a problem quietly brewing in the world of money. You see, for decades, American coins had been made from real precious metals. Quarters, dimes, and half-dollars were all struck in 90% silver. It gave the coin's weight, durability, and intrinsic value. The first-clad quarter, the 1965 Washington quarter, became the vanguard of this change. On the surface, it retained the iconic image of George Washington on the obverse, originally designed by John Flanagan in 1932. His stoic profile faces left, with the word "Liberty" above, the date below, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," to the left. It's a clean, timeless design, rooted in tradition, and unchanged for decades. It looked the same. But it didn't sound the same. And it didn't weigh the same. And for sharp-eyed collectors, that made all the difference. To the average American in 1965, the new quarters were just quarters. They spent them on bubble gum, gas, and jukebox tunes. But numismatists, coin experts and enthusiasts, knew that big changes often leave behind rare treasures. And in the transition from silver to clad, some very unusual things happened. To prevent hoarding, the mint also made an unprecedented move. They removed all mint marks from coins in 1965. Whether the coin came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, there would be no mark to indicate its origin. This was done to keep people from collecting coins from specific mints, which could have made the shortage even worse. That means all 1965 quarters appear identical at a glance. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Just a plain quarter. But not all were created equal, and now, let's talk about condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. A coin fresh from the mint, untouched, uncirculated, and still gleaming, can be worth dozens, even hundreds of times more than a worn-out example that's been rattling around in pockets for decades. Now, here's where things get exciting. A particular 1965 quarter, graded MS-67 by a professional grading service, was recently sold at auction for $108. That's right. A 25-cent piece, made of copper and nickel, sold for more than $100. Why? Because it was almost perfect. Razor-sharp details. Full luster. Virtually no contact marks or scratches. It was a pristine example of a coin that most people never gave a second glance. Think about that. How many 1965 quarters have passed through your hands? Hundreds? Thousands? Maybe there's one right now in your change jar, sitting quietly next to dimes and nickels, just waiting to be discovered. But let's say you find one. How can you tell if it's worth anything? Next, examine the coin closely under magnification. Look for doubling in the text. Look for off-center strikes, die cracks, or other unusual features. These mint errors can significantly boost a coin's value. Collectors today are more passionate than ever. With social media, online forums, YouTube channels, and digital marketplaces, coin collecting has experienced a revival. Young and old alike are rediscovering the thrill of the hunt, finding rare coins in circulation, researching their history, and sharing their finds with a global community, and the 1965 quarter has become a star in that story. It's a coin that marked the end of silver. The beginning of clad. A coin born of economic necessity, yet now cherished for its history. And for a lucky few, it's a coin that turned pocket change into a payday. So, what makes the 1965 quarter worth $108? It's not just the date. It's the condition. The rarity. The potential for error. The thrill of finding something valuable where you least expect it. It's the reminder that history is all around us, in our drawers, in our wallets, even in the change we hand over for a cup of coffee, and maybe, just maybe, it's in your pocket right now. So next time you hear that familiar jingle of coins, take a moment. Look closely. That ordinary quarter might just be a piece of American history. A hidden treasure. A $100 discovery, waiting to be found. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you never miss out on the next hidden gem we uncover. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're going to start checking your quarters a little more carefully from now on. Until next time, keep hunting, stay curious, and happy collecting.